Hi, Roxanne. Thank you so much for taking out the time to share your experience of what it's been like working with us here at the Abundant Accountant and being in our 8-week sales mastery course. But
You're very welcome.
yeah, thank you. Before we dive in, I'd love it if you can share where are you at in the country and what does your firm specialize in?
Okay, I am located in Illinois in a suburb that is about 40 miles west of the city of Chicago. My firm specializes in helping daycare owners take care of their books so that they can take care of the coloring books with the little ones.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome. And so, what were some of the biggest challenges you had in your firm as it related to sales before you met with us?
Probably the biggest challenge was not really having a solid process, something that I followed with every single potential client that I spoke with.
Mhm.
We all know that you're going to really gel with some people and not with others. And so when you really gel with someone, it's really easy to go off on those old rabbit trails and not really cover all of the things that you need to, which then became that, yeah, it was a nice conversation, but that was about all that it was, and nothing ever comes of it.
Right.
So in joining you, now I have a process. And it is one that you helped me to put together in my own words.
Yes.
So it is a very comfortable process for me to follow. It leaves time for those little rabbit hills that and holes that we may get to, but there's a very easy way for me to come on back,
Yeah.
to where I need to be. And that's something I never had before. So
Yeah.
that definitely has helped.
Right, for sure. And those rabbit holes, and when you were going off track, like what did it cost you? So when you
Oh,
realized, okay, I have to make a change, right? That moment you decided to change and do something about it, what did those rabbit holes and other things cost you to you maybe like burned out, overwhelmed, like stressed out, joy, or like not making any money because you continued having all these meetings and had no money in the bank because none of them were. So if you
well, you're kind of hitting on all of them.
if you can elaborate on those rabbit holes on what did it cost you in your firm before you decided to make a change and do something about it, that'd be wonderful.
Okay. Well, first of all, yes, it did create some anxiety
Mhm.
before the call and even during the call because now I was worrying about what I was saying, and then you're not listening. So there's no real clear flow to getting to the bottom of everything. So that was very frustrating. So I'm not closing any deals, which is frustrating. Then when I would get to one that, okay, this is going, we were able to stay on track, that now, the old dollar signs are sitting there. And now it became, well, okay, not quoting or giving what the true investment should be because I was then afraid that um, they're going to get scared off by the price.
Right.
And so it was just a lot of frustration, anxiety, and almost getting to the point that I dreaded the calls because I found myself kind of already deciding that, well, this wasn't going to work. And then we all know that once you decide that, guess what? It didn't
Not
work.
gonna work. Yeah. So what was that turning point for you where you decided to do something different and you had your original call with us? You said, let me reach out for help. Let me see what the abundant accountant in this 8-week sales mastery
I
course.
had been, yeah, I was frustrated. And so it was towards the end of last year and was deciding, okay, if I want 2025 to be better than 2024, something's got to change. And that's something that's got to change is me because it's my business. So it was coincidental, or whatever you want to call it, that the universe was working in my favor that there shows up one of your posts.
Oh,
And I was like, okay, let's give it a try. I mean, worst case is I'm not going to like what they have to say, and all that I wasted was some of my time. That's it. But the whole process of talking with you and your group, I could see you had a process. You followed. It was very, it was calming for me. There
mm,
was no feeling attacked because, of course, I had to get vulnerable about where I was. And we all know that when you've got to get vulnerable about things, it makes you feel uneasy. But there was none of that. There was no judgment. There was, going through the questions, really asking me where, I was, why I'm frustrated, why I was calling in, and what do I want? What am I looking to change? And realizing that these are all kinds of things that I should be asking my clients. So I need to learn from you guys how to do that because I know how comfortable I felt through the whole process. And that's what I want when I'm talking with prospective clients is that it is a good, comfortable conversation. Whether or not we work together, it
mhm.
still should be a good feeling throughout the whole thing. So that's
Love
why I
that.
joined.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I know you said the only thing that you might lose is time, but I know you also made an investment, money and time. I'm curious if you could share with other firm owners
Yes,
that
made the
also,
investment. And
well, there's other firm
there's
owners that also,
part,
there's other firm owners also, Roxanne, that might fear the time investment, the money investment. They're skeptical. Many CPAs are trained to be skeptics. I'd love it if you could share what was your initial skepticism about the money that you invested, about the time you invested, even though maybe you were thinking, well, I don't know if this will work for me. I saw it worked for others. I'd love it if you could share a little bit about that.
okay. Well, um, as far as the investment went, I had a pretty good idea where it was going to be because there are other coaches out there that are doing the same thing that you're doing, and I know what their programs are
They're
costing.
doing the
So I,
same thing as us?
well, no, no, no. Well, let me rephrase.
Okay.
They're attempting to do what you are doing, that they are trying to guide, accountants, CPAs, tax people along the way. And, that's how they're promoting it that they're doing what you're doing.
Mm.
So, and charging more than what you are charging. So, but again, when it came to the investment, that was not an issue for me. Because I've gone to school and I know that if, at least for me, if there's something new that I need to learn, you're going to pay for it one way or the other. You're going to pay for it up front or in the back end because you're going to be consistently losing money on clients or completely losing clients. So there's always going to be an investment.
Yep.
For me, so that was not the issue. It was I looked at okay, and there's time. But again, if you want to learn something new, it's it's going to take time.
Yep.
And as I've had other people that I know that have said, whenever you're learning something new, you're going to suck. So embrace the suck and get used to it. And that's where you leave that comfort zone. And so I've left my comfort zone and I went through all of the hours, but they were well worth it. We talk about that there's a money investment, but that time investment is your investment in yourself to
Yep.
grow. And to me, that is priceless.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. How would you share, Roxanne, the difference between us here at the Abundant Accountant, our 8 week sales mastery course, versus all of the other coaches and programs out there? How would you say this is different and unique compared to everything else out there that you've seen and heard of? Or
Okay. Okay. Um, I will say that think where there's few differences. Major ones for me. There is there's accountability. Every week you had it broken down. It was 8 weeks. So 8 weeks, each week, a different thing was covered. We'd have our meetings. There was homework that we had to do because let's face it, you can't learn by just listening to what somebody's telling you. You have to do it. So there's the homework. And the beautiful part about it is that you and your group, you review that homework.
Mhm.
You give suggestions on things where you're like, eh, might want to change this. You'll give suggestions on how to word it or what to add or whatever. But the beautiful part there too is yes, you're giving the suggestions, but the end result is still our choice. So it's not like if you say, well, you should change this to this, and say, I read through it and go, that don't sound like me. I don't have to accept it.
you can
I
change.
can leave it,
Yeah.
you know, but we're given suggestions and we have there's a group of us that meet together and everybody is, in the same boat. We're all learning together. We share our wins. We share, the things that we're upset about. And there's that community and
Mhm.
knowing that you're not alone. The
Mhm.
other ones aren't doing that.
Mhm.
Yeah, they may assign things, but then it's, well, did you do it? Well, why didn't you do it? I don't understand why you guys aren't doing this. This is easy stuff. You should be doing this. So there was no for me, I'm about, I need that community because accountants we're a group and we need to stick together. And we all go through the same sort of things. And someone is going to have run into something just like you did, and they can share how they handled it, good or bad. So then we learn from each other's mistakes, but we
Mhm.
also learn from each other's,
Successes.
their excitement, all of their wins.
Exactly.
And that's important. That is very important. And so again, we're learning by doing.
Yes.
And that is something that others don't do that your group does. And that is why it was the right one for me.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for sharing that, Roxanne. I always like to say our group coaching calls, it's it's like you were sharing earlier. It's your opportunity to learn from another firm owner so it doesn't have to
Mhm.
be your next mistake. So their aha moment or their win doesn't have to cost you your next mistake. You might actually learn something that you have never even thought of, or you're going to get you'll hear a question that was asked that was never even thought of. So I loved how you
Yep.
shared that. Was there anything else that you think was unique and different that you think you're compelled to share with another firm owner that might be considering enrolling in our 8 week sales mastery course that you think would be pertinent to share?
Well, the other thing that I like about with your program is yes, it's 8 weeks, but that doesn't mean that you're kicked to the curb when the 8 weeks is over. You allow and you have it set up that we can come back
Mhm.
that and join in on those weekly coaching classes that something has been bothering you got some questions, you want to get back in and bounce things off of everybody, that we can sign up to join those weekly coaching calls a month at a time. There's no contract. It's just like, hey, Michelle, I need to come back.
Well,
And
you
you're
don't
like,
have to pay,
okay,
but you're not like
no,
locked into any certain amount of time. It's a month
no,
commitment.
no. Yep. We come in, we get the few months, we're feeling all better again. It's like, thank you. See you again when, when I'm running into some issues.
I'm like your vitamin B12 shot after you complete
Yes.
8 weeks.
Yes. So that I really like. And as you know, I have taken advantage of that a few times since doing it because, there'll be some new things that come up and it's
Yeah.
like, well, hey, I need to get back in with everybody. I need to find out, is anybody else running into this or what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
Help me out here, guys. What would you suggest that I do differently so that I don't run into this again? And you're there for me.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. I'd love it, Roxanne, if you can share how your 2025 has been different than last year, maybe from a financial standpoint, your anxiety standpoint, and just an overall stress level. I'd love it if you can share some of your wins and successes if you have them summed up.
absolutely. Um, Wins, I think the biggest win for me is I don't go into sales meetings all anxious and freaked out. I've learned don't depend on this. Just go with it. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So the confidence to talk with these owners, and then also the confidence to stand behind my prices as they are
Yeah.
and not be, backing them off, which I had done so many times. And in that, I have gotten I have added this year so far 4 new clients at the prices I wanted,
How much
not what I would have
extra
done.
revenue have you generated from those four?
So that is probably on those 4. We're looking at probably about $50,000 in extra revenue
Congratulations.
over what I would have done last year. And I have your group to
Massive.
thank for that because I did not have that confidence
Yeah.
in myself or my value and, to put out my prices and stand behind them. And I think the best thing also behind there is that I've learned truly who I want to work with, what my boundaries are. And I have declined people because they did not meet what I expected out of my clients. And in the past, I would have taken them and then been pissed off every month.
I love it. Thank you, Roxanne, for sharing. And I'm just so proud of you. And you can always come back for your vitamin B12 shots anytime.
Yes.
But I'd love
Thank
it
you.
if you could share before we wrap up, if you could go back and tell your younger self a few months ago, last year, prior years, what would you tell your younger self about what you've learned from this program or how it's been different? Or what would you share with another firm owner that might be in your shoes where you were months ago with the anxiety and kind of just blowing off the phone calls because you know how they're going to end and all the other things that you were struggling with that someone else might be struggling with right now? What would you tell your younger self?
Um, First of all, I would tell my younger self to that you matter. And you have a lot of value that you can bring to all of your clients.
Yeah.
And so don't be afraid of that. Reach out and get the help in the areas where you know you are struggling. I know accounting, that is not my problem. It was the marketing and the sales process because those those are just not, comfort areas for me. They have never been comfort areas for me. And so it was I would be saying go get the help and be vulnerable with them. Do not be afraid. You are not alone.
Yeah.
There are so many people out there in that same exact situation. And, you know, some people would say, well, misery loves company, but also the winners love company and move from the misery to the winner's circle. And you won't be sorry.
Oh, thank you, Roxanne. And we're the sales part of what helped you. The marketing was someone else who's helped you, and you're still working
Yes.
with them. So
Yes.
just want to make sure we're clear that this is the sales department and the sales coaching for your firm so you can get paid and make the extra additional 50,000 just like you did off 4 clients. I'm just so proud of you, and I just can't wait to see where things are the next time you come back for your B12 shot. So
Yep.
thank you so much, Roxanne, for sharing your experience of what it's like working with us here at the Abundant Accountant, doing the 8 week sales mastery course, and also being a part of our ongoing coaching, which is the optional thing that you can do on a month-to-month basis. Is there anything else you want to share before we wrap up today?
I just wanted to tell all of those CPAs, accountants, tax people out there that are just wondering, just make the call. You'll see what I'm talking about. You will see how they make you feel and what they have to offer. And take it. You deserve it. You, your family, your firm, you deserve it. So, just do it. You won't be sorry. And then again, if it's not the right time for you, at least you know what they have to offer so that when you are feeling ready, you can call and just explode your business.
Love it. Thank you so much, Roxanne.
Thank you.